Meeting Keir Starmer, the UK Premier.
Yes, he's coming tonight.
What do you think of him? Some of his colleagues in government are quite critical of you.
Well, I'm going to see him in about an hour, so I have to be nice, right?
Discussed a number of issues of global significance. It was a very constructive exercise.
Keir Starmer's European tour was supposed to be his moment to shine on the world stage. Instead, it turned into a humiliating disaster that left his political career in ruins. But before we continue, I'd like to ask a small favor. If you enjoy this content, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing, and while it costs nothing, it makes a huge difference for us. Did you hit the subscribe button? Awesome, thank you so much. Now back to the story. From being snubbed by Donald Trump to stumbling through awkward media appearances, Starmer's fall from grace was visible for all to see. What exactly went wrong, and can he ever recover? Keir Starmer embarked on his European tour with lofty ambitions. He confidently announced his intention to rebuild the special relationship with the United States, aiming to establish himself as a major player on the international stage. The Labour leader envisioned high-profile meetings and photo ops that would enhance his image back home. However, things didn't go as planned. Upon arriving in Europe, it quickly became clear that his presence wasn't creating the impact he had anticipated. The most glaring example of his diminished stature occurred during a key event in France. While world leaders gathered for the reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral, Starmer found himself sidelined. Neither Washington nor Paris saw fit to invite the British opposition leader. The snub by Donald Trump was especially harsh, as the former U.S. president made a notable appearance at the cathedral, while Starmer was nowhere in sight. This exclusion was a clear reflection of his standing in international circles. Niall Gardiner, a former advisor, didn't hold back, describing Starmer's image in Washington as weak and woke, a scathing critique that highlights his struggle to gain traction on the global stage. Desperate to salvage something from the trip, Starmer issued statements about international cooperation and global challenges, but these efforts felt hollow, given his absence from critical diplomatic events. His attempts to remain relevant only underscored how disconnected he was from the real centers of power and influence. The fallout from this ill-fated tour is significant. Starmer's credibility on the world stage has been severely damaged. Political analysts warned that his failure to secure crucial diplomatic engagements could have long-term consequences for both his leadership and the Labour Party's position. The trip that was intended to boost his profile has instead raised serious doubts about his ability to represent British interests internationally. As Starmer returned home, he was met by a media landscape ready to pounce. The European tour debacle had set the stage for an even more brutal clash with the press. Little did he know, his challenges were just beginning, and the true test of his leadership was about to unfold under the relentless scrutiny of the British media. Starmer's European tour disaster was merely the beginning. The real humiliation awaited him back home, where he would face a grilling from 6 BBC radio hosts in a painful showdown that tested his resolve. Starmer's carefully crafted image seemed to crumble as key questions left him fumbling for answers. Upon returning to the UK, Starmer faced mounting pressure. The media frenzy was in full swing, eager to scrutinize his every word and gesture. The message was clear: Starmer needed to explain his policies, defend his leadership, and prove he wasn't just another political lightweight. However, what unfolded during a lengthy media round with several BBC radio stations was nothing short of a disaster. Starmer struggled to provide clear answers to even the most basic questions. When challenged on the issue of winter fuel allowance cuts, he stumbled. One host accused him of picking a fight with pensioners, and Starmer's admission that he had never personally struggled to pay utility bills only made matters worse. This tone-deaf response alienated many listeners facing the realities of the cost of living crisis. Starmer's attempts to shift the conversation toward other topics, like the reintroduction of ASBOs, were quickly cut off by interviewers who demanded he stay on topic. This highlighted his struggle to control the narrative or clearly present his policies. The awkward moments continued as a BBC Lincolnshire host questioned his apparent disconnect with local farmers. When asked if he had an issue with Lincolnshire, Starmer's awkward response did little to address the concerns. Social media quickly lit up with reactions, many of which were negative. People mocked Starmer's inability to provide coherent answers, and his performance was widely labeled as embarrassing. Political commentators weren't much kinder, noting that Starmer's communication style lacked clarity and effectiveness. As the dust settled, it became clear that this media meltdown had far-reaching consequences. Public trust, already shaken by his missteps during the European tour, eroded even further. Critics began questioning his ability to effectively lead the Labour Party, suggesting that his struggle to articulate policy could have long-term impacts on his political future. The public humiliation that Starmer faced was more than just a few awkward interviews. It was a complete unraveling of his political image in front of a live audience. Within a short span, he went from an aspiring statesman to a leader struggling to defend his policies and connect with voters. The question now looming over British politics is whether Starmer can recover from this blow to his credibility or if his time as Labour leader is nearing an end. Starmer's recent European tour, combined with these disastrous media appearances, has severely damaged his credibility as a leader. The cumulative effect of being sidelined on the global stage and fumbling basic policy discussions has left his political future uncertain. His inability to present a clear vision for Labour or connect with the electorate raises significant concerns about his capability to lead the party into the next general election. The challenges facing Starmer and the Labour Party are enormous. They need to rebuild public trust while offering a compelling alternative to the current government. Starmer's performance has revealed deep-seated issues within the party, from policy inconsistencies to a disconnect with traditional Labour strongholds. Can Starmer salvage his leadership and guide Labour back to relevance? Or will these setbacks mark the end of his political ambitions? The next few months will be crucial in determining whether Starmer can recover or if Labour will need to seek new leadership to stand a chance at electoral success.